Good
All
evening,
right. So
everyone.
I see some of you are starting to trickle in. Let us know where you are right now, physically, geographically. Let us
Yeah.
know where you're at in your tarot journey as well, or your oracle journey. Have you started a deck? Do you just have an idea right now? Um, have you
And
already
also,
made your deck?
as you can see, Jen and I, we actually are in another part of the world because this is the morning for us. So good evening to all of you. Good morning. Good morning to us. I'm literally having my coffee at the moment. Very different
Me
vibe.
too. What are all of you drinking right now? Let us know in the chat. If you're having a tea, if you're having
We're gonna
a
wait
coffee.
just a few minutes in order for everybody to drop in, and then we're gonna start. I'm very excited to have you all, and very excited for today and to share everything we know with you guys.
Definitely. So yeah, again, let us know in the chat so we can see everyone that's here, where you are geographically, where you're at in your journey. And please make sure that you have a pen and paper or a note feature on your computer set up, because we're going to give you a lot of information today. And I want to make sure that you guys aren't missing anything. All right.
Hi, Liana. Hi, Kara. We don't do the recording, so the webinar will not be recorded. So we recommend you to stick to the end.
Yeah, and make sure that you do have, a pen, you do have a notepad. You can take screenshots of slides that you're like, oh, this slide has a lot of information that I want to keep. So yeah, remember that you can do all of that. We have,
Hi, Diana.
it's approaching evening here in California, San Diego. Liliana, where in the US are you right now? And have any of you started creating your oracle or your tarot or your affirmation deck yet? Is it an idea? We have New
California as
York,
well.
Venice
Nice.
Beach, lots of California people,
Yeah,
Midwest.
that's a very cool place to be. All
We've
right.
never been, but we've both talked about checking it out because apparently it's beautiful. All
Especially
right,
California.
and be sure to. We do have a Q&A section that you can ask questions in throughout. Also the chat box, which we will be checking. For the Q&A, we'll check those at the end. All right, what else do we have here? Trying to use subtitles on my iPhone to watch since I can't hear the webinar at the moment, but doesn't seem to work. Hopefully you will send the recording. I'm going to type
So what we can
to
do
her.
though, for those that actually has a problem, I'm gonna make sure we record that, and for those that request it, we can send the recording. You can just send us an email, and we'll be able to send you just a copy of the recording.
Yeah, so I'm going to write this in the chat
Yeah.
just in case they can't hear.
So I'm
So
gonna record.
send.
All right. On my screen. There. All
All
right. So
right,
you guys,
great. Is everyone ready?
I am ready though. So if everyone see that I'm looking here, is because I'm looking at my other screen, is I'm looking at you, but now I'm gonna look at the presentation. All right. So welcome to the Tarot Tales Academy, guys. Let's just dive in. You all here for the 5-stage Oracle and Tarot Publishing. And we're going to discuss everything that we've experienced and we're still experiencing with you guys in order to share our journey and what we've learned on our journey. And we crafted the 5-stage of Oracle and Tarot Publishing, which is you will see, very intuitive and very straightforward.
All right. So this is probably where you are, or where what you're thinking about right now. So you want to create a completely finished, very high quality, very beautiful oracle or tarot deck. Maybe you've already started. Maybe this is something that you simply have an idea in. And it's really important for you to create a deck that is a bit of a masterpiece, because if you create something, you want it to be as amazing as it possibly can. And you want to be able to share this with the world. Maybe you want to share it with your existing community, your loved ones, and perhaps you're realizing that you can actually share this with people all over the world, and it's something that you want to do. And of course, you are probably also here because you actually want to receive income from your creation. Because let's face it, creating a deck takes a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of dedication from the heart. And, you deserve to receive income from this. And so we're going to show you the way to do that today. And as well, you're probably here because you're ready to create what we're calling a mini business out of selling your oracle or your tarot deck and receive a regular income by doing something that you feel is fulfilling and fun and exciting. So, yeah, if you're any of these things, then be sure to stay until the end because we have so much good stuff for you guys.
And and the reason why you're here today, it's somehow you might fall into this the following. So either you've created a deck already, but you're unsure what are the next step because it could be very overwhelming. It's like, okay, I have this project. How do I go from here to here? And to be honest, we've been there with Jen, and it is overwhelming, and it's no problem. That's why you're here as well. Another reason why you might be here is because it's a dream of you, and you've been considering doing this for years. We've talked with so many people, and I was quite surprised to hear that people sometimes dream about this for like 10 years and be like, oh, it's such a project of mine, it's a dream. And you don't know where to begin. And then you're just like here with this dream and you haven't acted on it yet. Some people as well don't have the finance to buy the first inventory. And you will see with the technique that we've created and we found, you don't need to have the finances necessarily to buy your first inventory. And it actually doesn't matter if you are a business-oriented person or not, and if you have no prior experience. It's really, step-by-step process, and it's also a belief that we all have. And when I started my journey, I didn't believe I was business-oriented. And so many people around, especially in the artist realm, they don't believe they're necessarily business oriented, but it's generally a belief that you can tackle. So it doesn't matter if you have experience or not. This is something you can change. It doesn't matter as well as we talked before, just if you have a small budget, because this technique allow you to launch without necessarily a massive budget. It doesn't matter either if you don't have an audience. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. It is better if you have an audience because, of course, it will support you to launch your project. But we've launched without, and we've supported artists that launched without, and it worked completely, and they've been fully financed, and they've been able to launch and successfully start a mini business. And it doesn't matter as well if you haven't started. As I said, there's probably few of you guys that haven't really started your project yet, and it doesn't actually really matter. So what about us?
All right, so who are we? Well, we're Jen and Flo. I'm Jen. This is Flo, as you can see in the photos. We, like you, are artists and we're also entrepreneurs, which is why we're here today teaching this to you. We've been in this industry for over 3 years, and so we've had a lot of experience when it comes to, making all the different mistakes and stuff, which we're going to teach you to avoid today, and as well as, reaping great success from what we've been doing. And ultimately, we really care about your success because we've been, since we started to actually succeed in this industry of Oracle and Tarot publishing, we've gotten a lot of messages from creators asking if we can publish their deck or asking, how do we do it? Where do I start? And this is why we created this for you today, because we know there's a lot of you out there that want to make this happen.
Yeah, like, and we want to see so many people. You know, this is such a beautiful thing to do. It brings so much love to the world, and there's so much potential. We couldn't help everyone, and at the same time, this is our way to be able to support. I want personally to see more people that actually make a living out of something that is really like elevating the vibration of people and from the planet. So this is very important to us. This is a big mission of us.
Mhm.
So how did we start, Jen?
All right. So how did we start? Well, in the beginning, we knew we wanted to create an oracle deck, but we didn't know anything. So if you are also on this page, that's totally cool because we can tell you today how to get to where you want to go. So at the time, we didn't know how to find a factory. We didn't know anything about the technicalities of a deck. Like we didn't even realize that there were technicalities of a deck that we needed to think about. We'd never created a prototype before. We never created a guidebook before. We really had absolutely no idea where to start. We didn't know how to promote. We didn't know about legal aspects like copyright and stuff. We didn't know how to distribute. We didn't know where to get a good production factory. We didn't know how to ship the decks. Like we really knew nothing. So if you don't know anything, it's okay.
Yeah, I remember like even like the first deck we've created. Do you remember, Jen? We were like, how do we, how do we start actually? Do we start with the writing? Do we start with the image? It was actually like we were
Yeah.
debating this for a few days. I was like,
Do we
okay, so
start with
how do
the titles?
we? So, and it was beyond like what. And then it was just the beginning. It was like, okay, so how are we supposed to be? And then it doesn't even talk about like all the technicalities. So we basically really knew nothing, started completely from scratch. We
Hmm.
knew we loved Oracle and Tarot, but how do you get there?
Hmm. Hmm.
So we had to figure it out, really, truly everything. We had to figure it out to find a factory, which was by itself a project. It was already just like,
Hmm.
okay, where do we find that? How does it work? Understand all the technicalities of a deck, because when you have it in your hands, um, here's one of our deck. So when you have it in your hands, it looks fairly simple. You're like, oh yeah, great. But how do you call this paper? How do you call this kind of finishes? How do you call this kind of stamping? And this is really what kind of thickness you want in paper. Technicalities has been really like there was a lot already to uncover. So we had to create multiple prototypes fairly to arrive to something that is something we actually love, and create multiple prototypes to find the right factory. We had to launch without a massive investment, because Jen and I, we started after COVID, and it was just a dream of us to be able to have a business together. And so that's what we did. But we started just like you, perhaps from a zero. Um, and we didn't have a massive investment, if it was almost none at all. So we had to figure it out our way. So also, how do we promote our products? We didn't know how to promote. We didn't know much about marketing, to be honest. And also marketing for me was very scary, especially advertising. And it felt a bit like I don't know, it didn't feel really good, but we had to learn that, and it was really really interesting. Understand the legalities as well. Copyright business was very interesting. We had to learn all of it, figure it out, how to create an entire business, basically, and how to like make it work all together. That was quite the journey. So fast forward 1 year from all of this figuring it out phase, which we're two, so we're working a lot on it. We finally found
All
our
right.
method.
So yeah, this was our first campaign. So part of the method that we're going to show you guys today is how to, what to set up and what to put in place in order to have a successful Kickstarter launch where you meet your goal. So this is our first campaign for the Oracle of Great Mystics, the first deck that we led the creation of. We didn't personally create it, but we have 106 backers that we got for this campaign. We raised over $6,000, the magical number of a quadruple six, in 30 days. And with this campaign, it was very much a learning process because we actually spent quite a bit of money on advertising and just trying to promote the deck. And it turned out that everybody that actually supported this deck didn't come from any of these advertising methods. And so we ended up
Yeah.
spending all of this money for absolutely no reason. And we're going to teach you today how to avoid that. And yeah, but it was still a great success. As you can see, we reached over our goal. Our goal was $5,000. And so we were able to buy our first inventory with this. So we learned a lot in this process, and we were like, okay, I think that we actually understand like maybe how Kickstarter works. And then we ended up being very humbled in our second campaign, which is the Terra Wide Open. We had a very large goal for this one of $15,000. We had only 67 backers support this campaign, and we raised less than $4,000 in 30 days, which means that we didn't raise anything. Because if you don't meet your goal on Kickstarter, then you don't receive any of the money. Now, with this campaign, and be sure to write these notes down that I'm about to share with you because they're very, it will help as you create your Kickstarter campaign. A couple things that we noticed with this campaign is the video wasn't that great. So please make sure that your video is really good. It really showcases the deck in a way that has like good lighting, good filming, where people can feel like they're having a bit of an experience with it just in the main video. We also had, a deck that people just ultimately weren't that interested in at the time. Perhaps the art was just not what people were gravitating towards. And therefore, people weren't, wanting to share it so much or, wanting to support the campaign to the point of it being fully funded. And as well, we launched this campaign in October. So please write this down. Do not launch your tarot or your oracle campaign in October. October is a very competitive month because you have so many people who are creating campaigns around Halloween, and you probably aren't going to want to compete with those people because it's just, you don't want to compete with like a ton of other creators at once. And if you think about it, in October, you probably have like, I don't know, at least 10 times the amount that we noticed anyways launching in that month. So then more customers have to make decisions between, okay, whose deck should I support? So yeah,
And
that's what happened
one
with
thing I
this
wanted to
campaign.
add, one thing I wanted to add, thanks, Jen, is to the goal, as you can see, was 15,000. And that's because we tried already to understand the algorithm and we tried to analyze multiple campaigns. And we started with a small goal, and we thought like having a high goal was actually a reason why a campaign would be more founded. And it ended up like we understood quite the opposite. So we will talk about this later, but like when you have a high goal is when you really have a big audience, and it's better for you to have a smaller goal and to reach the goal faster for the algorithm. That will lead us to the third campaign.
All right, so the third campaign that we did was the Elemental Empath. We had 265 backers. We raised $20,000. It was funded in as little as 2 days. And with this campaign, we started to learn a lot more about, what people like, the types of art that people are enjoying, what people are wanting in a campaign, how to really showcase the deck, not just in the main video, but in the main story, which we will, share more about this with you throughout today's presentation. And, with this campaign, we started to really understand a little bit more, like how to kind of work with the algorithm, what the reward should be, what the add-ons should be. Add-ons are things that people can add to their rewards if they're choosing to buy a deck. Maybe they want a journal as well or an altar cloth as well. So we learned how to like really give the customer and the people that are buying the deck and supporting this campaign what it is that they're wanting. And yeah, because ultimately, like, you want people to be happy that are supporting your campaign. And so we really began to learn, yeah, what people are interested in here. And then that brings us to our fourth campaign that we did, which was the Tarot of Sacred Kingdoms, and it had very similar results. And it was fully funded in as little as 8 hours. And yeah, with this campaign, again, we started to actually be like, okay, I'm really understanding, what people are wanting, what people are wanting to practice oracle and tarot with, that they're wanting to do spreads with, the kind of style of the cards, the way to make a really nice video, the way to make really attractive rewards, the way to also give our backers, the backers being the people that are investing in the project, uh, what they actually are wanting and having, and giving them a good experience. So, yeah. And just to kind of give you an idea of where we entered afterwards and to show you what is possible, is after we started launching these campaigns, we started to sell in different, online spheres and different in-store spheres. And this is just an example of one of the platforms that we are now currently selling in. So after you launch your Kickstarter campaign, after you bring your deck out to the world, the world is kind of your oyster. Like, you can put your deck out in so many different places, and it can become like a very huge success, and become very regular income for you that can ultimately support you to do your art or to travel the world, which is what it's doing for us now. So yeah, that's a bit
Yeah.
about our journey. Mhm.
And also, we have some gift for you to be able to support you on the journey that we wanted to offer to you. So you will receive this. So stick to the end in order to receive it. So you have two things: the ebook, The Liberated Witch, which is just so wealth, prosperity spells in order to use magic of witchcraft ceremonies and all this stuff. And you will receive the PDF version of it. And you will receive also, which is very, very important, the checklist of all the essential elements for you to create your prototype, because it's kind of a tedious process, and you have all the checklist in order to be sure you haven't missed a single element until you receive the prototype. Now let's dive in. Yeah, the 5 stage of self-publishing that we crafted along our journey. And you will see, it's quite intuitive in a certain way, and it's very smooth. And it really is a step by step that you will have to follow in order to successfully publish your deck. The number one, and you can see there's like a little grumpy face on it. It's because it's the preparation stage, and it's not necessarily the most exciting one, but it's actually really important because it's the foundation of of your project. And to be fair, like, this foundation is very often skipped. That's why it's a grumpy. We want to go straight away to the stage 2, which is creation. And in the first stage, we're going to talk about the mindset you're going to have, around having a new transformation, moving through having a business, or the legality, the accounting, all this stuff that you need to prepare. Because as we're going to talk about in the future in this presentation, when you have a product that you create, somehow you have a business. And you have responsibility, which, don't be scared. Responsibility is also exciting. Which brings us to stage number 2, which you can see now. The guy is happy. That probably is you in that moment. It's you start to get inspired. You start to look around. You start your creation process, and you're very all excited about this. Creation stage, really important, and we're going to dive into this today. Prototype stage, still very excited, like, oh my god, like, this is it. I have my prototype in my hand. I'm creating it. Like, this is like from an idea to manifestation in this world. This is great. And you find a factory. You're just like, all of this is ready in your hand. Number 4, the crowdfunding stage. Exciting, same thing. You're launching your product. This is real. You're funding people. So you have all of this coming, preparing your campaign, during the campaign, and post-campaign when you fulfill your order. So we're going to talk about that. And number 5, final stage. So 1 to 4, I would say it's about 50-60% of the work. Yeah, in 4 stage, and 5 stage, the distribution stage, is the rest of it. So sometimes we think, like, when we reach stage number 4, we're done, and be like, there you go, project's launched. It's a big part of it, but it's just one step out of there's 2 chapters in it. Like, that's chapter 1. Yeah, you chapter 2, and it's like stage 5, distributing your product as well, B2B, Etsy for a lot of artists, and fulfillment center depends where you want to sell it. B2B stands for business to business. For those that don't know, it means you literally put your decks in store, which we recommend, and we'll talk about this in detail. So stage 1, Jen, are you ready for stage 1?
All right. So for stage one, here are 7 things that
Oh, I think you froze. I think we
you
lost
know
Jen.
to keep in mind and that we want to aim to master is mindset. I
Do you think
think we
that was
lost
me?
you.
Okay, so maybe that was maybe
I'm
there was a
here.
technical problem from the platform.
Let us know if I cut out or if Flo cut out, just so we know whose
Yeah.
internet to target to fix. All right. So as you can see here, the first thing is believe that you can do it. I know that it feels scary. I know that it might feel like a lot. It could feel a bit overwhelming, but you need to believe that you can do it. And you can do it. If we did it, trust me, you can do it. We really started, as you guys saw, from absolutely nothing, so you can do it no matter what. Also believe and understand that you do have the resources to make this happen. You have the time, you have the energy. We're going to show you how to have the money, and when it comes to the full scope of work that is about to be tackled, it's important to be aware and mindful of this, which is why we're bringing you through this today so that you can understand everything that is, that needs to be done. And then this will help you to create a clear plan of action. When you have a clear plan of action as well, it's easier to stay in a good mindset because then every single day you can just go step by step, one step at a time, and just tick off the boxes. And after a few months, you're going to look back being like, wow, I actually, completed so much in this period. Um, Another thing is it will be helpful if in your mindset you start to consider yourself as a mini business person. So you're somebody that is creating a product, that has a product, that's selling a product, that is receiving money off of this product, and really consider yourself that from the beginning. And like the power of the mind is so potent, so that will definitely support you in your success as well. And of course, there does need to be a willingness to invest your time, your money, your energy, to invest the money that you get from Kickstarter. And it is going to require us to make bold decisions, be very patient with the journey because sometimes it does take a bit of time. And of course, it's really important to become a doer. So make sure that you are doing like steps every single day. Don't worry about being a perfectionist. Just don't procrastinate and know that every single day you are going to get better and your product is going to be more and more amazing. Your Oracle deck, your Tarot deck is going to be more amazing every time you focus on it. So, yeah.
So when it comes to the business side, as I just said before, when you have a product, you have a business. What it means is you have responsibility. You have taxes, you have customer, mostly the people that really are investing themselves, the energy, the love, the money into your project and your product. And you want to be really responsible when it comes to this. So what you need to do in that stage is, first of all, is set up the right price with the right margin, which is extremely important because it happened in the past for me. I completely I started in the restaurant industry, and I set up like the wrong margin. I didn't actually really looked at the margin, to be honest. And I started after 3 months being like, I don't understand. We have a customer, we don't make money. And then I had to look at it really, dived into more into the margin and understand really what are the costs and taxes, and to make sure that you're not losing time and energy into this. So set up the right price with the right margin really is important. And you need to have at least a coefficient 5. It means your product, for example, will cost you $10. You need to sell it $50. It's a normal margin for you to actually have something sustainable. And it's not like you taking advantage of anyone. It's because of all the cost you have to. So be clear on whether you want to sell as an individual or as a company. straight away from the get-go. You need to know, because I don't know where you're from really, like where you're living, and so you're gonna have to make your research and see, do you want to start as a company? Is it more interesting for you, or do you want to start as an individual? Just making research and starting with this phase. Number three is it's absolutely mandatory. Set up a bank account for the project straight away. What it means is whether you are working as an individual or as a company, maybe likely that you're going to work as an individual, but still, like if you are an individual, open a new bank account just for the project starting today, because that's going to change everything. You need to have all your expense and income in order straight away, even though like you're just starting. Take the good habit and educate yourself on your taxes and responsibility regarding where you are. Just like start to gather all of this because it's extremely important for the future. Now, the inspiration, which is stage number two, gathering all this inspiration and like kind of knowledge. The common mistake I've seen over the years of being an entrepreneur is when people create something in general, just not decks, but just even projects, they think that everybody wants what they want. They assume because they like it, everybody will like it. This is a major mistake that a lot of people do, is assuming that like everybody wants the same. It's not the case. So you're going to have to make some research, because as you've seen, we've done that mistake ourselves. I quite like the deck that has been unsuccessful. I was really drawn myself to it, and I thought that really deeply in my core. But to be honest, I was kind of the only one, and it seems like it was also I didn't make the research. So learn from a lesson, learn from the lessons of many entrepreneurs. Start making your research. Why some decks are working and why some decks are not. So look on some platforms, look at the comments, why is it working, why is it not working. Start to really get to know the market if you don't understand it yet, like this like spiritual market that you have in front of you, you're entering in. You need to know to be a specialist of this market. So what is the market like? What are people are drawn to? You can ask around, be curious around your friends and family. Why do they have that deck? Why did they buy this one? Did they buy it? Did they receive it? What makes them feel drawn to it? And start yourself that as well. Just like don't exclude yourself from the equation and be like, why did I buy these decks? Number four is, what are the features that actually add value to make it stand out? So just basically some stuff that I personally believe that makes the deck stand out is the edges. So it's one of the feature that I actually really like, and that makes me feel like the deck is standing out because it gives me this kind of premium. But that's me. Maybe this is different for you. You have to create it on your own. And the experience you want to create for people from the moment they buy to the way you speak to the universe you bring them. Maybe there's a story with your deck that can speak to people. Maybe like the design is very special. Doesn't matter what kind of experience you want to give them. Which brings us to stage number three, the prototype and the factory. All right. Starting with the mistake again. Neglecting the importance of a solid factory. And of course, you're going to tell me, no, but of course, why would I pick a wrong factory? No, but I really insist a solid factory. Not just like, oh, it seems nice. Make your research. And here are some questions you're gonna ask yourself, and they're gonna support you to find the right one based on your experience. Factories have different type of quantities requirement, which is called MOQ, minimum quantity of production. Sorry. Wait, minimum order quantity, MOQ. Yeah. So what are the minimum quantity of production for them? So sometimes it could be 250, 500, 1,000, 2,000 units, varied from one factory to another. And then it leads us to point number two, what is the cost per unit? You will see that the price will vary a lot depending on the amount of quantity produced. So also draft this in order to prepare your campaign. Three, what is the time of production? It ranges from 30 to 60 days. It's important to know because you need to factor that when you're gonna forecast. Number four, what is the cost of a prototyping? It ranges from 300 to 800 in general, depends on the option you have, and also the factory will have a different price. Also, one little tips for you guys, we didn't know that for quite some time actually. When you can request for a prototype to have multiple prototypes with the same one goal. So every time you make a new prototype, which is, for example, a new printing, you will have to pay between $300 and $800 if you want to change something. But if they print one go, you can have multiple prototypes and just pay for the shipping. Number 5, what are the materials they use? Yeah, you want them to be as sustainable as possible, and you want to be curious about that to understand really like what's going on with the materials, and also understanding what are your options, when it comes to finishes. Number 6, what's the quality and durability of the product and the finishes? And number 7, very important, what's the warranty they offer you in case of error? And you will see we've been experiencing that, and it's important to understand what are the engagement towards you when it comes to quality. Number 8, what is the quality of the prototype will be the same as production. What does that mean is you will see very often the print that is used for the prototype and the print that is used for the mass production is a different printer, and you can experience a different type of printing. Again, you need to clarify that. Number 9, what are the file type they are using? Because from my experience, every factory has a different requirement when it comes to files. Here are some things you're going to need to choose for your prototype. What are the technicalities of the paper? What are the technicalities of the finishes? What are the thickness, for example, you want for the paper as well? What's the size do you want the card to be? And that you need to understand, and straight away I have it because you're going to receive the template from the factory. What type of box do you want? There's multiple type of box. And which one would you like to have based on the experience you want to create? For the barcode, you're going to have to register a barcode as you're going to have a product. And for this, you're going to have to go through GS1. Don't look somewhere else. This is the place. So when you're going to create your product, just make sure you go into this platform, choose the right barcode for you based on where you live and based on if you're individual or company, and subscribe that. Prototyping warning, again, it's the same thing I told you before. Sometimes the prototype doesn't have the same printing as the mass production, and we're going to talk about this. Actually, going to talk about this very soon.
All right. So, why do we need to pick a good factory? All right. So, there's a few things that we're going to show you guys that are just important to keep in mind, and as well, yeah, again, just make sure that you have a pen and paper because I'm going to give you some good little points here as you do look for a factory. Now, the first thing, and be sure to write this down, you need to get an inspector. Okay, so after you do your final production, sometimes, like Flo said, the prototype, it looks, one way, but it's made with a different machine than the mass production. Because mass production is made with some type of really big, hopefully fairly sustainable machine. And there are a lot of things that can go wrong if you don't have a really good factory in place, such as in these photos here, you'll see that we had about 1,000 decks that were unsellable because of a production error. And they had all of these little errors here, like, cracks in the spine, glue sticking out. And for those of you that are familiar already with what we do, and maybe some of you own our decks already, I know a couple of you do. They're very premium quality decks, like they have very nice finishes. They have like a very thick cardstock. Some of them are magnetic, like they're very high quality decks. And so this is completely unacceptable for a premium deck. People would not be very happy to receive this. And so if you have an inspector, then the inspector after the production will go to the factory directly and will look over the production to make sure it's good. And if it's not good, then the factory needs to produce again, and you don't pay, which is the point of having an inspector. And the factory knows that an inspector is coming. So hopefully they try to do their best to avoid having to reproduce. But the inspector leaves you with really good information. For example, all these photos here that you see with the red arrows, this is what the inspector sent to us. If we didn't have an inspector, we wouldn't have known about these issues and we would have lost about $6,000. So yes, please, please, please hire an inspector.
And yeah,
And another thing that happened for us, again, which is why you need to have a really good factory. You want to have a factory that doesn't just produce something high quality. Like, for example, our factory, they use recycled materials and recycled soy ink for a lot of the products. That's something that's really important to us. Our factory is also a factory that does have, good morale. They have good ethics. For example, as you can see here, we had the prototype that was a little bit lighter and the production that was quite dark. This is for the Tarot of Sacred Kingdoms. I don't know if any of you own this deck. And we had quite a few people on Kickstarter, to our surprise, as they started to receive their deck, find out that the deck was actually a lot darker than it was supposed to be, and you could barely see the image. And because we had a really good factory with good ethics, with good morals, they actually took responsibility for this printing error, and they reproduced cards so that we could then give all of our backers, all of the people that supported our campaign, a new set of cards that were brighter in color, and that actually were authentic to our intention for this deck. And if we didn't work with a factory that had good ethics and had good morals, then we could have lost over $10,000 because of this. Because, like, who wants to own a deck that is so dark that you can't even see the cards, right? All right, so if you are creating a prototype, just be sure to keep in mind that you want to try to find a good factory right from the get-go. So really do your research, even reviews of the different factories. Find a factory that you feel really aligned with, because a prototype is really expensive and can take some time. And you want to make it as effortless and seamless as possible. So hopefully you just need to go to one factory, because every single factory also has different requirements for file types, and for sizes, and for the bleed lines, and all of these different things. So you want to make sure that you try to nail with the best factory straight away, so that you only need to make one prototype. All right, so stage 4, so that was the prototype stage. Stage 4 is the crowdfunding stage. Now, here are some things that you need to set in place. So for those of you that like to take screenshots, I think this would actually be a really good page to take a screenshot of. So this is everything to do with Kickstarter. All right. So when you go on Kickstarter, there are a few things that you need to figure out. So number one is, what is the profitable point for you? And, like, what do you need your goal to be, right? Do you need it to be $5,000? Do you need it to be $10,000? Do you need it to be more? Do you need it to be less? Find the goal that you need to set in order to fully fund your production and fully fund your shipping, and make sure Kickstarter gets their fees. Make sure you have about a 20% wiggle room, I like to have, for if things go wrong, for example. The second thing is, make sure that you have a very compelling story and really compelling rewards that are ultimately, like, really irresistible for your backers. Your story is the landing page of your Kickstarter campaign, and the rewards are the different things that they can invest in. So, for example, you would have one reward that is just your deck. Maybe you have another reward that's a package. We like to do packages where people, they get a deck, and then they get an altar cloth, and they get a journal. Or you can have a wholesale option. Make sure that you have rewards that are set up that feel really exciting, and some of which too that are limited, because if rewards are limited, people have this sense of urgency to invest in your project sooner rather than later. The third thing is, make sure that you correctly match the algorithm of successful campaigns. So look at what keywords have been successful in the past. Look at what types of rewards have been successful in the past with other campaigns. So really make sure that you are observing what works and what doesn't work. It's important to gather enough followers before the campaign. So you want to have at least 200, even 300 is amazing to have, because they all get notifications the moment that your project launches. Next is make sure that you gain traction for your Kickstarter campaign with a really good marketing plan. Now, there are so many things that you can do with this. You know, you can, of course, like share to your Instagram stories, share to your Facebook, share to TikTok. If you have friends that are willing to share, if you have an email list, if you have a friend with an email list who, you know, does something in this industry, who would be happy to share about, you know, your launch with their community. Maybe you go to a market on Sundays and you can do free readings at the market, and you have a QR code that people can scan and it brings them to your campaign. You know, like, think outside the box, think inside the box. You just want a good marketing plan to help spread the word. The next is make sure that you hire a very competent fulfillment center. So the fulfillment center is the place that distributes all of your orders. So once you get all of the orders from Kickstarter, you will send the orders to a fulfillment center, which is a shipping center, and then they fulfill all of your orders. And you want, you know, a fulfillment center that really knows what they're doing, that has a good system set in place, because it can feel really messy, especially if your campaign is really, really successful. Next is make sure that you have really good management and a really good communication system for all parts of the back end of your campaign. So with your backers, for your updates, if backers have questions, make sure that you're answering them, you know, because these people really matter. They're actually willing to invest in your project. Like, that's a huge deal. And so it's important that we are, you know, connecting with them. We're answering their questions. We're there for them when it comes to their interest in your deck. And of course, having like good management with the fulfillment center as well is really important. Like I mentioned previously, when you are coming up with your goal, please anticipate damage control in your forecasting. So again, I like to add around 20% to what I think everything is going to cost. So if I think we need to raise $4,000, I'll make it five. So as long as we raise $5,000, we're good. And even if there's like a little bit of damages, we have the extra money to rectify any situation like that. And then the last is make sure that you have a really solid customer service, which you would be doing just in the back end. That leaves your backers like really happy and, you know, wanting to support your campaigns in the future if you do future campaigns. We have a lot of returning backers now because, you know, we've created a good relationship with them. We appreciate them. Yeah, so that's the crowdfunding phase. Again, take a screenshot of this page if you haven't. Cool. All right.
All right, for
Next.
the distribution stage, which is the next step. Well, I can do it, doesn't matter. What is your price for B2B?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
B2B
go.
again stand for business to business, which is a different one. So business to business is when you put your deck into, you know, stores. What's your price for that? Generally, it's coefficient is 3. Again, when we talk about coefficient, is the price you pay and the price you will sell it, 2 or 3. Yeah, you want to multiply it by 2, by 3. So what is the margin you need to be profitable? And that's something you're going to need to compute. Establish your inventory tracking document. Depend the way you want to organize yourself. Just make sure you're tracking that, and you just like don't make it just by in your mind, just being like how much did I send, how much did I sold, and make sure you have like an agreement with them. Number 4 for this distribution stage, it's setting up your online store. Makes sense. And I would suggest that you go in this very specific order for you to, you know, like get into this business slowly, one step at a time. The B2B is actually really interesting because you're going to be able just to give it to someone that's actually going to sell for it. And it's kind of really passive. Actually, it is passive. So you want to create that baseline. Number 4, it's really going into the online world and start to promote it and sell it. Is the good way to start, and the good place to start for you guys will be Etsy. There's a lot of artists selling there. Like a lot of people, probably you can see yourself in it. A lot of people buy the deck directly on Etsy because it's a marketplace for all the creators, and everybody just go there. So Number five, again, when it comes to this step, be very clear about your tax duties and business obligation. The first stage was really to understand really where you're stepping in. Hopefully you know already, and hopefully you kind of prepared, but now it really is the moment where you have to be serious because you engage sales and you engage having customers, and you have really now responsibility towards all of this, even though it's uncomfortable, but like this is really important. Number six, find a fulfillment center. By then, you already have one that is like normally close to your factory in order to ship everything to the backers. But maybe you want to sell, for example, you're selling in the UK, maybe you're selling in France, maybe you're selling in the States. So you're going to have a fulfillment center in the country in order to ship directly from the country of production to a distribution fulfillment center when you're going to have your sales happening. So you're going to have to think about really how you want to distribute this in order for it to be efficient for you and for your customer. Create a return policy that makes sense, to understand really how you want to operate, what kind of like ethos you want to have around your sales and around your customer. And of course, keep in touch with them, like create a relationship with them. And for the last step, which is honestly again in order, the last step, going into advertising. As I said in the very beginning, advertising was a bit scary for us. It's just one coin, two things. It can be either very you can lose a lot of money, or you can actually make profit out of it. And that's something that you want to go last, because you're going to have to make some tests, and it's quite an investment, but it's worth it. So that's for the distribution stage, and basically for the 5 stage of self-publishing. So that kind of give you an overview about the step you need to take. So for those that were unclear about what are the steps, what are all the questions you need to ask yourself, with this, I hope that you already have a lot of clarity. Now we're going to talk about the expected investments you need to think, because also it's important to know, okay, I want to publish this, but how much is going to cost me? The first step is creation of your company, which is non-mandatory, so you don't have to pay this. It varies between 150, 300, depends on what kind of company you want to create, depends on which country you are. A barcode generally is $30. Depends on the company depends on the country you're living and where you established. The prototype, as we said, for one shot, one go, one try, is between $300 and $800, depend on the features you want to add. For example, a feature, the gilt edges, the foil stamped, all of this stuff. So for example, to have this, you need to have a mold, there's a press, so that is going to cost you it's going to cost you something, because they're going to have to create the press. So when you have like this with stamped, it costs more than $300 because they need to create it. The formatting, the guidebook, there's multiple ways of doing it. You can hire a formatter for $100 in general, or you can do it yourself and then you don't pay anything. The copyright of your deck, we're going to take the example of the copyright of for the US, it's $65. So the total range between $395 to $1,300, yeah, something like that. So between $400 and $1,300 to start with your campaign. You don't have to start with a prototype, but it's highly recommended that you actually start with having a prototype in your hand. Now, when it comes to the timeline, and they overlap, yeah, so that's why it goes from 7 to 24 months. The creation depends on you. Generally, it could range for 2 to 12 months. Like, yeah, I see a lot of artists saying like, took me a year, 2 years to create this. The prototype, you can expect 1 to 3 months. Like everything, it's going to take a little bit longer than what you expect. This is me being also very real with you guys. I don't know, Jen, like, I don't know what you think, but I think we've never, even today, it's even rare that like we make it happen in a range we want to. It's actually quite challenging because you rely on also other people, for the prototype. So factories, holidays, all this stuff. The crowdfunding campaign, it's a pre-crowdfunding campaign, is where you gather your backers and people that follow the project. It's generally 3 months. And the crowdfunding campaign itself is always a month. And the production and inspection range between 1 to 2 months. And the shipments depends where you ship and which country you're producing. Everything range from 1 to 2 months. So it gives you an idea about the investment financially and the time frame. And it's quite interesting in this kind of project is like it takes time, but it's such a beautiful journey and such also a beautiful investment. It's like you're creating real estate to yourself. It's not like just out of the blue. No, you're literally creating a real estate for yourself, which is really really nice. Now, you can feel overwhelmed. That's a lot of things to think, and hopefully, you got a lot of information that is really supporting you today. For those that are really, really serious about this, for those that actually really want to, oh, Vanessa said we're actually frozen. Can anyone say if
You're
they
not,
can hear us normally? Can you hear me,
you
Jen?
don't seem frozen for me. I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna. Okay. So as I was saying, for you guys, for those that are actually really serious, we've created the Tarot Tales Academy. What does people say? I can hear you. Okay, good. Thank you guys. So we created the Tarot Tales Academy, which is a self-publishing school. It's a step-by-step formula that take you where you are today, because we've been there, to bring you where you want to go, is where we are today. And this is something we wish for everyone. And that's why we created it. So it's a step by step formula, easy, going from artist to really mini business entrepreneur to successfully publish your deck and operate your mini business. Because as we talked about, it is a mini business. So, and it takes skill, it takes time. So we created this in order to really being able to support you. Now we want to start with the bonuses
Yes.
because it's exciting.
All right. So the bonuses are the most exciting. Well, I mean, the whole thing is exciting, but this I am particularly excited about because these are really going to support you. So, one thing, if you join the Tarot Tales Academy, we are giving you our contact for our production factory, which is huge because then you don't have to go through doing all the prototyping and everything. We're actually like, should we do this? Should we not do this? But yeah, we want you guys to succeed. So something that we're going to give you is a contact of our production factory. They're also a sustainable factory. They're an ethical factory. It's one of the best ones out there. And yeah, like they use recycled materials, recycled soy ink. It's really good. The next is we're going to give you the contact of our fulfillment center and of our carrier. So these are the people that are um, fulfilling the orders, shipping the orders, making sure that we get it to our backers and to, maybe the different stores and stuff that you go into after the success of your campaign. And you're also going to get all of the systems that we have set in place because it can feel a little bit complicated sometimes with the fulfillment centers because orders get lost, orders get damaged. Like it's just something that naturally happens at times. It's not super common, but it does happen. And we have a very comprehensive, strong system set in place. And not only are you going to get the contact, but you're also going to get the whole system that we use. And the fulfillment center is very familiar with this system. You're also going to get the contact of our inspector, so you'll have a good inspector that's thorough, that reviews everything properly. And we're going to do a couple bonus videos, one of how to start with B2B, so business to business sales. When we started to go into stores, it felt a little bit like daunting and like, oh my gosh, what's happening right now? So we're going to show you how to get started with that, as well as setting up your Instagram e-store so that people can just like buy off of you from Instagram. And you'll also be published in our email list of 10,000 people when your campaign is live. So you'll get a bit of extra exposure. And the email list is always growing. So who knows, by the time you publish your deck, it could be like 20,000. And the last thing is that you can apply to publish with us. Now, this part is not guaranteed that you will be published by us, but you can be eligible to apply. After your campaign is fulfilled, if your deck, matches with the ethos and stuff of our company, then you will be able to potentially be published by us, which would mean that you have purely passive income from the money that you make from the deck because you would just get paid every month by us. for the result of your creation. So yeah, those are the bonuses that we have. Did I cut out, by the way? Because you seem to freeze for me.
I think you did at least at least for me. I don't know if it's the platform or
Okay.
if this is you.
You
Uh,
you keep
so yeah,
going. I'm
basically
just
you've
going to
been
change my internet.
okay. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, apply to publish. You're going to be able to publish with us, guys. What does it mean is also like as we really love to see you succeed, it's 100% passive, and you keep the copyright of your deck. Unlike the other publisher, you where they take the rights, you keep the copyrights. This is your deck. You can still sell it on the side. It will sell it for you, and it's just like a bonus for you. You don't have anything to do, and we do everything for you. Now, what's the course about? We talked about the importance to know how to navigate a mini business. So it takes education and skills that we're going to help you to build. We're going to help you to build based on our experience and based on masterminds and the people that we had around us that have been able to support us as well to become like really good entrepreneur as well as we were artists. So it takes a transition between where you are today, that could be employee, that could be artist, to really become an entrepreneur. And we're supporting you in this transition, educating you from the mindset, really what is the mindset you need to embody in order to really be successful, because it is like an adventure. This is a journey. So we teach you everything with that, how to master your time and how to master your productivity in order to stay passionate, in order to stay productive, and not just waste your time and stress in order to achieve something. So we're going to teach you exactly how to set up goals, how to reach your goals, how to organize your day, and all this stuff as an entrepreneur in order to like not just work, but live your life. It's about optimizing yourself. Simplified accounting. Accounting is a big chunk, and we're going to teach you how to work with accounting and how does it actually, because accounting is also like it's an obligation you have, and there's a way to do it, and we're going to teach you how to do that. There's two type of accounting: managerial and financial. So there's your way to take actions, and there's also the way that is legal, and that's an obligation, and it comes with a template. So we also give you all the templates, and we teach you how to use these templates. So this is really important, how to use the software we're going to give you. So it's really a transition, and we teach you how to transition from artist to solopreneur. And in this part as well, we're going to help you to teach you how to build awareness of your project, email lists, start to build an audience in order to have people that will follow you and be with you and supporting you in this journey. Now, the part two is creating your deck. We talked about, the importance of understanding your market, understanding, like where you want to go, what works, what doesn't work. And this is that part. This is that part where you're actually going to go to the world and look at, analyze everything. It's really a research analysis based on our mistake that we're going to share with you, based on what we've learned and what we've known that we want you to avoid. So we're going to go with you on the entire process from where you are to find the right inspiration, to find the right deck for you. And again, it's not about just creating what people just want. It's about understanding what people want and create in that frame. So for those that are actually not necessarily designer or artists, because they are, we're going to introduce you to creation and design for you to understand, because some of you might be writer. We've seen a lot of people that actually are writer and they don't know how to create art. And there's multiple ways that you can go, and we'll talk about this, the artistic concepts and the themes. So for example, people want to have like a deck around the feminine, maybe some people want to have a deck around the elements. So we're just going to talk about the multiple concepts and themes you can go. For those who are not writer, how to write the guidebook content, the card structure and design. It goes with everything, and how to protect your deck. So basically all the creative part. For the prototype, we want you to be able to have the perfect prototype. It is a massive step for you, and it's also involved finances. So you don't want to miss this. You want to be able to successfully ensure that your deck is going to be what you want. The technical aspect of paper, finishes, box, and durability, again, like it took me so long to understand really that all the technicalities of a printing factory. And we put this in a very digestible way to introduce you to this, for you to be able to pick exactly what you want, exactly to be able to create and craft the best deck you actually can do. And for that, you need to have a very clear understanding in your creative process of what are your options. What are your options? What can you do? And once you can see everything you can do, you have all these options in front of you, and you're like, "Wow, I can do that. I can do that. I can do that." We want you to understand. So this is a very big part of like where you can actually, and what are your options. Everything that is Lego compliance. What is the content? We'll give you everything, by the way, about this. Like the content inside the guidebook that is Lego, all the barcodes, going through all of this with you, the right barcodes for you, how to achieve a professional formatting, which is quite intense. So we give you all the things you need in order to really succeed in your prototyping, and having this in a very done in a really good manner. And also, as we give you the contact of a factory, um, we're gonna help you to use the templates directly from the factory in multiple ways. Adobe Illustrator and with Canva, because there's people that are more advanced than others. So we're going through the entire process of using even the templates to being able to save your files and send them to the factory directly, like that you're ready. It's honestly, this is just so easy. It's such a step by step. That leads us to the crowdfunding.
Mhm. All right, can you hear me okay?
Okay, it's water.
I think I'm a little bit
I can.
delayed. But can you guys let me know in the comments as well if you can hear me okay? And I sincerely apologize if I'm a bit delayed here. All right, so for the crowdfunding phase. Now, of course, this is like a really exciting phase because this is something that, ultimately tells you that you can put your deck out into the world, and it just feels really exciting. So the first thing that we're going to go into with everybody is calculating your prices. So making sure that you factor in like the cost of production, the shipping costs, the Kickstarter fees, the inspector costs, everything like that that is integrated into what you need to think about when it comes to your expenses, so that you make a funding goal that is achievable for you, but also one that where you like you're not shooting yourself in the foot, you're actually getting the money that you need in order to make this project happen. um, because sometimes it can be hard to define like a really clear funding goal that is actually needed, and then sometimes you want to make sure you can actually fulfill your orders, right? The next is we're going to teach you ways to master, or kind of be on your way to mastery with the Kickstarter algorithm. um, and there's a lot of different techniques within this that you can consider that will help to ensure that you do meet your goal. As long as, of course, you have a beautiful product and, an oracle or tarot deck that people actually want. And what we're going to share with you will help facilitate a boost for you to kind of reach further up towards the top of the page. The next is that we're going to teach you everything with setting up your Kickstarter campaign. Now, we have done this multiple times, from just creating the story to creating all of the rewards, and you want to make sure that you have like a really engaging story, that the design and the graphics all look really beautiful, and that you're crafting a really engaging message and something that people actually feel excited about, because you're ultimately sharing your deck with people that know they're not going to receive it for multiple months. Because that's what a crowdfunding campaign is. And so they really have faith in your project. And so we want to make sure that we are communicating very beautifully and very well to the people that are going to be investing in your project. We'll also bring you through all of the different ways to master the marketing within your campaign before the launch, building awareness before the launch,
I
during
don't
the
hear you.
launch, and growing your follower base. The Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
No? Okay.
I can now.
Okay. All right. I think one of us is a little bit delayed. So the next is optimizing your live campaign. So when the campaign is live, there are different strategies that you can implement for, driving traffic to your campaign, for managing your campaign, and for making sure that your campaign is, ultimately successful even during. And then the last thing is all of the post campaign stuff. So managing the orders, the customer support stuff, preparing the shipments. Again, you will have all of our systems that we have in place, because it actually took me a few campaigns to really get this a good system, the one that we use now, implemented. And so we're going to give that to you so that you don't have to worry about it. Yeah. So that's what you have. Mhm. Do you want to finish
And the
off, because I'm
logistics.
worried about my delay?
Yeah, it's okay. I finished, Nori. Thanks, Jen. Yeah. So for the logistics, it's extremely important because it could be also a very stressful part in a way that you start to play with big numbers. It was for me at least, and still is today. So because you're launching your production, you receive the money from your Kickstarter, you launch. This is such a long time, like so many works, and you don't want to miss that part. So we're supporting you here. We're teaching you really how to initiate your first mass production to ensure like a really smooth and secure process, because you're going to have to pay for the factory, you're going to have to hire the inspector, you're going to have to make sure you understand the report from the inspector, you have to understand all of it, but also mostly how to coordinate the shipping preps and how to coordinate the shipping period, how to manage the custom, the return, the delivery challenge you can have, because for sure, and it happens every time after a campaign, you're going to have damage, you're going to have losses, you're going to have to deal with it. But that's only from the Kickstarter part. And then you're going to have the distribution part where you're also going to ship and distribute all of this. And there's also the mass shipment where you distribute to another fulfillment center. And so you ship that by boat. And there's, of course, shipping and customs that are involved in this. And we, step by step, taking your hand and going through the entire process with you in order for you to have a peace of mind and know what you're doing, and it's not stressful. This is stress free. So we're going through this. This is like the module of the logistic. So what's included? Don't pay attention to the value price. It is not what you pay. So you have a live access to the entire course and all the updates. Very important, the updates, because this is a very evolving market. It changes all the time. And we learn as well all the time. And we want to give the best. Again, like we're doing this really to support artists because we have so many requests that we can't support everyone. So that's the only way we found it. So you're going to have access to all the updates. You're going to have access, of course, to the step-by-step method for self-publishing we discussed. There's 5 modules, more than 20 hours, of the course, all the PDF and the audios, guided meditation, visualization, like everything you need. The Facebook group, extremely important, because when we start in this journey as entrepreneur, as creator, it can be overwhelming. Even though you have the course, still it's a project. You still need to work on this. And having peers with you guys is going to support you and feel less lonely. It's like when you go to a session, of gym, it's so much easier sometimes when you're in the same group dynamic. Yeah, you just feel like the energy. So it's important that you are finally in a group of people just like you that create decks. So it's a very important community. So we created that, and this is a big thing. I'm really happy and proud because you're going to be able to support each other and cheer each other up. Sell your deck after the launch, like the B2B, really like the expansion part, So it's also part of it. All the templates ready to use, and we're teaching how to use the template and the software that will support you on your journey as a new entrepreneur, because it's a new identity shift that you have. You're going through a moment of your life, and I'm actually really serious about this. This is transformational. This is like a transformation you're embarking on. Like from a year from now, you will not be the same person. The perspective of your life, the mindset you are, what you've been creating, what you've been learning will be completely different. So you're embarking in a very transformational journey. It's a new chapter of your life. It was for me, it was for Jen. who we were before and who we are today is completely different, and you will experience the same. So you're going to put yourself into that state, into that new version of you. So all the templates are included. Copyright templates, yeah, we're going through the entire thing with you. Inventory tracking, so like that you don't have to create it yourself. All the shipment tracking, all the coefficient, how to compute the right price for you, like how to include all the costs in order for you to understand everything. We've put everything together for you. We literally took everything we do for us, we duplicated it, and we put it for you. B2B tracking, everything, and all of our contact that we already shared with you because we were too excited that we don't want it to wait. Now, how does this cost? It's a launch offer. It's the first time we're launching this. We've been working on this for more than 6 months, including the fact that we've been in the industry for more than 3 years. But it's a launch offer. So the real price is nearly $1,000. But because it's a launch offer, you'll pay, we give you 60% discount within the next 24 hours, which is bringing you down to nearly $400. For those that actually don't want or can't pay straight away, you can have 3 installments when you go on the page. For those that, there will be an offer around here, and also you're going to receive an email including the offer code and including the page to go for this. And in the page of payment, you will see there's like, you can choose one time or multiple times. And you have 14 days to change your mind in case like you're not satisfied and I don't know what happened. You're like, okay, what did I do? I'm too scared. But also, I would say, again, if you've been thinking about doing this for years, it is the right time for you. There's no right time if you're scared. And the difference between what will make you where you are and where you can be is you investing in yourself, believing that you can do it. Yeah. So we wanted it to be accessible for you guys. For everything we're going to provide you, you pay only $400 and you can be in another reality in 1 year from now. So before we go into the questions, I wanted really to thank you, all of you, to come. I don't take for granted your time. And I hope if you join the academy or if you don't join the academy, that whatever you create or you want to create will be successful. I really want to see as many decks as possible because I enjoy them myself, and I want to see more artists succeeding. I see so many people, they're, living their dream, making money out of this. I know money is taboo, but making money out of, like, for most people, making money out of something that is not necessarily a good thing for people and for the planet. And I want to live in a world where there's more people that do good things. So rather you join or not, I hope you had like as much information and, like, quality and tips for you to be able to join that kind of people that deserve, to receive the abundance. Because I know that people want to create oracle cards are people like really driven from their heart. And this is what I want to see in this world. So honestly, I hope you have received so much today. I definitely did with your presence. It was exciting for me to do this webinar. And thanks everybody to be here. And thanks, Jen.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Please let us know if you do have any questions, and we'll take some time now to answer them. And so awesome, Angie, that you have joined. It is going to be so exciting to have you there. And yeah, I put the link here in the little chat with the code so that you guys can check that out. But yeah, if you do have any questions about anything we've talked about today, whether it's related to the course or related to what we've talked about otherwise, please let us know. We're more than happy to answer. Yeah. And otherwise, you guys have our email right here. You can let us know if you do have any questions. Remember that this offer does last for the next like 24 hours, or I guess 23 and a half hours, perhaps at this point. So you do have some time to think about it if you're not sure right now. And remember that you do have a 14-day money back guarantee because, sometimes we just need to like start on something before, and yeah, and it just helps with peace of mind a little bit. So yeah, I don't see any questions rolling
We had a
in.
question
So
from
if
Andrea.
that's it, if nobody has any
Yeah, we had
questions,
one from
did we?
Andrea. I think we're delayed. Sorry. Yeah, like how
Oh,
do we
here.
choose and obtain an inspector? Is it an independent or individual company we hire? So inspectors in general, there are companies that have multiple inspectors. As we depends on the country where you're gonna go. You just basically need to look on Google and look for inspectors for productions and hire the right one for you, because it depends where you actually want to produce. But there's like yeah, like generally it's like printing inspection, and you can just look at that and just find which one is the right one for you, contact them and see what's the reference. And it's pretty straightforward these days.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Yes,
Tonya,
yes.
that's okay. I hope like you received so much from today to really start with this project. We were where you were not so long ago. 3 years we started really from nothing with Jen, and today we're literally living out of this, and we're expanding, and this is incredible, and I'm very grateful. Like, so honestly, keep it up. um don't hesitate as well to invest in yourself, not just to say that to push you, because I'm not like a pushy person. I don't hate when people push me. But saying that, like, one thing that really worked with Jen and I is to be able to take the leap of faith and invest in ourselves. And that's also why we're here, is because we've been able to always, like, invest in ourselves and be like, okay, we trust, we believe. And it was very scary at times. We're like, what are we doing? This is almost what all we have. And that's also why we succeeded, is being like, okay, we believe in us, which is coming from self-love. But at time when fear kicks in, this is so difficult. But regardless, don't give up in your project. Put it out there as much as you can. I hope you received so much value today that you can actually, like, from what you got, being able to start to craft your deck if it's not done already. And good luck with all of this to all of you guys. Honestly, thank you so much for being here. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, feel free to contact us anytime. Let us know about your journey. And yeah, you guys rock. So, again, the link for if you want to join is here in the chat box. You'll also get an email with it. Offer 888 is the code. And yeah, all right, sending
Yeah.
everyone so much love and many
I look forward to
blessings,
see.
and good luck on your journey
Yeah.
creating your deck.
I look forward to see you all, like, really what you do, either if it's just outside, of the academy, and to see, like, for who's also going to join, and to see what you're going to be able to create. I'm very, very excited. Uh, so yeah, thank you again. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful evening, I guess, for you guys. A beautiful night. Beautiful day to you, Jen. Beautiful day to me. And hope to see you soon.
All
Bye,
right,
guys.
bye everyone.